with Al Bernstein, and now another one of the young heavyweights, Bruce Seldon, who does possess something that not every other young prospect has, and that is an outstanding jab. Here's a look.
Bruce Seldon is one of the young Turks in the heavyweight division who wants to move up quickly. He's raced through 15 opponents, and 12 haven't seen the final bell. Ezra Sellers was down in the first, and then stopped here in the second. Old warhorse Ozzy Ocasio showed Seldon some old tricks, and despite being hit with some major league shots, he took the fight the distance. And Bruce was happy to get his decision win. Big John Morton was less fortunate. Seldon unveiled the uppercut, and Morton was in trouble. And this TKO win sets Seldon up for tonight's battle. And he faces a heavyweight from another era who would love nothing better than to turn back the hands of time. Seldon takes on David Bay.
And here is David Bay from another era, coming off a couple of wins after being inactive for 2 years, after losing to Joe Buckner back in 1986. Took 87 and 88 off and most of 89 off. And then he came back and has won 2 fights in a row. He now lives in Fayetteville, North Carolina, as we take a look at the diehard keys to victory.
For Seldon, keep your distance. I think he's got to keep his distance and not get involved in a wrestling match. Don't load up. He's very good, Seldon, when he throws punches in combination and lets them flow. For Bay, control the tempo. Do a little of that holding, mauling, brawling. And when he's on the inside, he can't just hold. He's got to work hard.
Well, David Bay says he has worked hard coming into this fight. He feels like he's in pretty good shape. He's coming in somewhere in the 240, 245 area. We'll see for sure as we find out from Michael Buffer. Michael?
Ladies and gentlemen, this next bout is sanctioned by the New Jersey State Athletic Control Board. Commissioner Larry Hazard Sr., Deputy Commissioners Lawrence Wallace and R. Yogi Hiltner. The chairman is Jerry Gormley. Board members Gary Shaw and Richard Harrison. The 3 judges, Deborah Barnes, Jimmy Condon, and William Kostrup. Chief physician, Dr. Frank B. Dockett. Also in attendance, Dr. Eric Wormser and Dr. Earl Shaw. And the timekeeper is Arthur Spell. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the Mark G. Edis Arena here at the Trump Taj Mahal Casino Resort in Atlantic City, New Jersey, Top Rank Incorporated and the undisputed king of beers, Budweiser, present the featured bout of the evening. So let's get ready to rumble. 10 rounds in the heavyweight division. The referee for this bout is Tony Orlando. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the blue trunks with white trim and weighing 244 1/2 pounds, from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, North Philly to be exact. His professional record, 19 victories, 16 by KO, 6 defeats. Let's hear it for David Bay. Fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the black trunks with gold letters. He weighs an even 223 pounds, from Atlantic City, New Jersey. Undefeated as a professional with 15 consecutive victories, 12 by KO. Ladies and gentlemen, the Atlantic City Express, Bruce Seldon.
Okay, gentlemen, I expect a clean fight. I expect you to listen to my commands. Do you have any questions? Wish you good luck. Touch gloves, go back to your corner.
As we take a look at Bruce Seldon, fighting before the home folk here, so a very popular figure here in Atlantic City. And in the other corner, David Bay came in at 244. By comparison, when he fought Larry Holmes, he was 231. When he fought Greg Page and beat him, he was at an all-time low for him, 224, and I include his being born.
David's a big fella.
And Seldon starts out working the jab. That is a weapon that Bruce Seldon does possess, and it is a very good jab. And you don't see that much in the heavyweight division anymore.
It's a strong jab. I mean, and of course, we've talked about Holyfield, how much he used that as his weapon, and how much he'll need it against another guy who's got a good jab, George Foreman. So Seldon can use that very well. Look at him switch to lefty. Hey, this is, what are we seeing here? Is this the reincarnation of Bruce Ali Seldon?
He's staying very busy early in the fight. David Bay, a guy who has been close, but when it really comes down to it, he's come up empty.
Had Larry Holmes in trouble, as we mentioned, in his bout with Holmes.
There is one interesting side note to David Bay's career, and that is his very first fight was a second-round knockout over who?
Buster Douglas. Amazing, isn't it?
How do you like that? As you can see, Seldon has knocked out 80% of his opponents, while Bay 64% in his 25 fights. Nice body work by Seldon.
I don't think Bay has thrown a punch yet. Just want to know which one of Bob Kenobi and Logan Hobson, which one's tracking David Bay. He's going to have an easy night.
Taking the night off so far.
Yeah. Get a little nap in during this.
Bay just following Seldon around, so there hasn't been a lot of action, but all the action there has been in this first round has been provided by Bruce Seldon.
Bay trying a right hand that doesn't get it.
Good body shot by Seldon, a quick left hand. Nice uppercut that staggered Bay. Wow. And Bay in retreat, Seldon jumps right on him. Bay still trying to cover up and not doing a very good job of it.
You see the hand speed of Seldon, in addition to the power. You know, I got to tell you something. I've seen him a lot on TV, but I haven't been back here for a couple of the bouts you guys did with Bruce Seldon. Hey, you know what? He's looking real good.
I've been tooting Bruce Seldon's horn for a while, and some people have talked about the fact that he might have a suspect chin, but I've liked him, and I think just because of the fact that he does have the great jab, you got to consider him.
Well, a lot of fans are talking about him across the country. Switch back to lefty. You know, Carmen Graziano's trainer is very high on him. Really feels he's a superb young fighter.
But like Evander Holyfield, he's a good athlete, obviously well conditioned. So we come to the end of the first round, and a very, very good first round for Bruce Seldon.
Here's David Bay landing a good shot underneath and then pushing Bay into the corner with this excellent left hand. And it was a big round for Seldon. Although the number on his jabs, he only landed 10 of 52 because Bay was catching a lot on his gloves, but he's throwing so many.
And Seldon starts out very up-tempo. Interesting to get a little talk to the punch profile guys. Big left hand. Bay into the ropes again and in trouble again trying to cover up. Bay trying to fight off the ropes now. Interesting to talk to punch profile guys about how many punches the heavyweights throw and where Seldon comes on that scale. 74, a pretty good number.
That's good for a heavyweight. That's right in there for a good heavyweight. Most of the lightweights would throw that amount of punches, so that's a good number.
One footnote on David Bay that I now remember from having done his fights before. He has a tattoo on his arm where his name's misspelled. He's the only guy I've ever seen with a typo on his arm.
And you can't change it with a tattoo.
Oh,
I guess you could, but it's a tough process.
It's a real oops.
In his heyday, Bay beat Greg Page. We mentioned that. He beat Leroy Caldwell, George Chaplin. Those were pretty good heavyweight names. Larry Sims. That was en route to fighting Larry Holmes. He was undefeated when he fought Holmes. Then subsequently lost to Burbick. You mentioned the Bugner loss also. He lost to Bone Crusher Smith.
He lost to Bone Crusher Smith, but he gained a hometown. I think Bone Crusher and he both live in Fayetteville, North Carolina. That fight was in Fayetteville. Either that or part of his deal was just a one-way ticket.
It's pretty rugged. You come to a fight, you have to stay.
That's a tough contract, isn't it?
Now, if that's the case, you got to get fights in Hawaii. Bay trying to smother Seldon a little bit, and that's what he really wants to do. Now, there, he's got to work when he's in there, and he tries, not too much landing.
Most of those shots, with the exception of that last one, were caught on the gloves.
Now, David Bay landed a good left hook. That's the punch that hurt Larry Holmes. He has a pretty good left hook, so that's the one he'll land against Seldon. And he did that time as Seldon was pulling out, something I'm sure Carmen Graziano will remind Seldon about.
Again, solid body work being done by Seldon against a not-so-solid body. Bay has that mongoose kind of style, covers up reasonably well, but Seldon has found a home for a number of shots.
David Bay's style vulnerable to the left hook because he puts that glove out in front of his face, and Seldon taking advantage of it.
This is the third round. Fight that has belonged to Bruce Seldon so far.
You can see Seldon, his defense, and that's the defense you saw there. He put his hands up, but he'll cross over with that right hand. There it is, and he got hit with the left. That's the defense that Kenny Norton, Jesse Burnett, among others, used. And if a guy comes to you and throws a terrific left hook and you're not adept at slipping it, you're going to have problems. But it's very good at stopping the right hand, obviously.
Bay has been a combination for one of the few times. Bay, as you mentioned, does have a very good left hand. Seldon is going to have to be suspect of it.
Tyson was supposed to be in the audience. I don't know if he's here. We talked about him. Very good book about him, Blood Season by Phil Berger's, now on paperback. And I tell you, to me, that's a book that really helps describe what Mike Tyson is all about and what the heavyweight picture is all about.
Again, a tough body shot. These punches are not slapping punches. Seldon continues to try to work the body, not as up-tempo in this round as he has been.
When he faced Adi Ocasio, who also is here, by the way, I saw him out in the lobby, he had to go to decision with him, as did Ray Mercer and other young heavyweights. Ozzy trotted out to give them some work. And it's tough when you get in with these veterans who know all the tricks. It's hard to knock them out.
Right now, this is more dance than fight.
Well, Seldon is leaning on the inside with Bay, which is what Bay wants in a way, but neither man really making much out of it. There's the hook. There's the hook. On the inside, David Bay can crank up that left hook.
Slow-paced third round. The numbers will drop off perceptibly in this round.
Good right by Seldon, but look how he dropped his hands there. That was a dangerous move.
End of the third round. We're going to go into the court of Bruce Seldon. Listen to the voice of Carmen Graziano, who is one of those guys that's been around this game for a while.
Bruce, you got to do one of the two styles. You can't do what you're doing. You're not doing anything. You're either boxing him or you're going to bob a weave. You got to do it, Bruce. Come on. Let's come on. Let's go with the jab for a while. Let's go to the other style. You can't do what you're doing. Lay in with him. He's hitting your punches, Bruce. Punches you don't have to get hit with. Suck in deep. Come on, believe in yourself. Play with this back. Now, you're going to do what I said? You're going to box a while, and then you're going to go to the other style. As you go to the other style, just keep driving him back. He can't punch back enough at all. In fact, he can't keep him back. Shoulder.
Well, here is Seldon on the inside. This is what Carmen Graziano is talking about. Tremendous advice from Carmen. Seldon is caught in between styles. He's just laying in there. He's not jabbing and boxing as he was before, or not just taking it to Bay. He's just kind of laying in there with him.
And you saw Bay get a piece of Bruce Seldon. Seldon caught both of those punches, sort of deflected them with the gloves, but still, it gives you an idea that Bay can still crank one up on occasion, and Seldon is going to have respect for it. He doesn't want to be in the range of Bay where he was in the last round.
So listening to Graziano, he says, all right, I'm going to box a little bit, show him the jab, and then look for a power punch. Speaking of jabs, as we were, see Seldon landing more. Not a great percentage, but still landing a lot more.
Well, again, you could see David Bay pick a lot of those jabs with his glove. There's an example right there. And there. And the body shots landed, but none of the jabs did.
Very good right hands downstairs, though, by Seldon. That's what I would do personally if I was Seldon. I would really concentrate on the body in a big way right now. David Bay has a history of tiring in later rounds of bouts, and there's no reason why it wouldn't happen again. He's 33 years of age now, older than before. I guess he would have to be older than before with all age, don't we? And, you know, he would be susceptible to the body attack.
Back to the way it was in the last round, and Seldon, who came out boxing, now continues to lay on Bay. Now he gets away from it. Bruce Seldon may be just a little bit tired.
Oh, and there's the hook. See, he's right there. When he can, sound like Howard Cosell, right there. No, he's standing there where he can get hit with those shots and keeping his hands down. And if he's going to be there, yeah, this is what he should do if he's inside. Go after Bay.
And now the jab starts to get there, and behind him comes a right hand. And the uppercut getting there as well.
From Bay's standpoint, of course, he's really not being busy enough when he's on the inside, but it's certainly a good survival mode for him. And occasionally, yes, there's a punch. Seldon standing straight up with his hands down. Now, he can get away with that against David Bay, but there are other people who will take advantage of that, like a Riddick Bowe, who we talked about in ringside.
Yeah, Riddick Bowe and Razor Ruddock, a couple guys who are slipping quietly through the rankings. And now Bay jumps on Seldon. What Bruce Seldon is in danger of doing here is giving David Bay some confidence.
That's precisely it. And Bay knowing now he can land some shots on the inside. He's doing it. Seldon just laying in there.
That jab slipped through, but it's few and far between as we head for the end of round number 4. And David Bay not out of this fight yet.
Seldon as a left-hander against David Bay, landing the jabs and the uppercut. And he's effective as a lefty.
Again, a lot of those are being caught on the gloves. The right hand slipped through.
And Bay with a good left hook, and Seldon kind of aping like, nah, I didn't get hurt. But Bay getting, as you said, a little confident here, weathering those storms, not everything landing by Seldon, and the ones that are landing apparently not hurting that badly. So David Bay saying, well, it's my turn, I'll punch a little.
Again, Seldon content to lay on Bay. And the jab now a pawing jab. Seldon looked like he's just trying to load up here.
Well, he wants to land the good straight right hand from the right-handed stance, or now he'll turn left and look for the straight left, but I also think he's having a little bit of a hard time getting that jab in as well as he'd like right now. Bay cutting the ring off, but not doing anything with it. Pawing left hook. And you know what? We're rapidly getting into the I could be in a no-win situation for Bruce Seldon, because he's winning this bout to be sure, but if David Bay makes him, oh, good right by Bay, if he makes Seldon go the distance in what might not be a thrilling fight, it's not going to do much for Seldon's reputation. Of course, Seldon, you know, has a date on January 11th with Jose Rebalta in that heavyweight package that Bob Arum put together with Ray Mercer against Damiani and Tommy Morrison against James Quick-Tillis, where you get to look at these young heavyweights. So he needs to win for sure, and he probably would like to win impressively. Seldon's got his hands down at his waist, Barry. I mean, he's just walking.
Yeah, he's kind of hit neutral here.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's a very good way to put it. And that's really what Carmen Graziano was trying to tell him. Certainly landing more punches and winning, but that's what I think, the body work. That's where I would concentrate if I was him. Because That body's there. I mean, Bay is really trying to protect his head, and the body shots are wide open for Seldon.
Coming down toward the end of the 5th round. And again, Bay still picking off a lot of the punches of Seldon, catching him just with parts of his glove. That left hand did get there, but it was a single punch. David Bay still there as we come to the end of round number 5.
Mark down this moment, David Bay right at the end of this last round. Seldon with his hands very low. There is a hook that, I mean, if it had been a little longer, and there it is again, I'm not sure that Bruce Seldon would be standing. That shook him a little bit.
Definitely did. It was the last punch of that round, right as we went away to break. See how Seldon reacts to that. He's not hurt. In round number 5, Seldon still throwing a lot of punches, not throwing them too effectively. Bay, on the other hand, just the opposite.
Getting in a lot of what he threw. And, you know, you could see David Bay now getting ready to crank up that hook. Seldon switching back to lefty now. I think that left hook brought a little respect to Bruce Seldon as far as David Bay is concerned. Larry Holmes knows what it's like, and he's a pretty tough cookie to get hit by a good David Bay punch and have it shake you.
Bay's problem throughout his career is he's been able to hurt people. He hasn't been able to get them out of it. And then he's run out of gas.
Bruce Seldon going straight back with his hands down, not the defensive posture they want. Bay missing those punches, though. Now you see Bay jabbing to the body. That is designed to bring Seldon's guard down even more, and I think we'll see him come with an overhand right or left hook behind it. See, Bay is starting to work more.
And getting in close quarters. And Seldon is letting it. Left hand and right behind it by Bay.
That's the best combination David Bay has thrown in this bout. Well, Bay has a history of tiring in bouts. Will Seldon. Now there comes Seldon.
And those punches are getting in.
Bay covering up and smiling.
A lot of those caught on the gloves, but there are plenty that are getting through.
What will this do, though, for the last minute of this round to Seldon? There's no question Seldon's way ahead on points. How much did that take out of him? Or out of Bay, for that matter?
Bay continues to just stalk him, lay on him, and get inside when he wants to. Just hasn't been able to get there with the money shot.
David Bay has a clue to win this fight, I'm telling you. When he's on the inside, he knows the punches to throw, and when he throws them, they're very effective. The right to the body, then the right up to the head is a key combination for him.
They try to do it there. Now it's going to come down to a question of conditioning, though, for David Bay. Because, as you pointed out, he's had a history of tiring in the later rounds. They'll take you into his corner.
Sit down now. David, you're blowing the fight, all right? You sat inside with him and you didn't put your punches together downstairs. When you're inside on him, he leaning, you punch to the body. He's tired, more tired than you are. Right. He is tired right now. It's time for you to pick up your pace, David. Body, head, all right? Just don't follow him around the ring. Throw something. Put your punches together. If you ain't doing that, touch him with a jab. All right, you got to throw punches. Don't lean with him if you're not going to do nothing. Don't lean like this. Not unless you're going to throw punches, baby.
Good advice to David Bay. Here's where Seldon, after getting off to a bad start in this round, really wailed away against the body of Bay and the head. Did land some shots in there.
Well, I have to say that David Bay did not appear in his corner to be tired. Did not appear excessively winded. And the advice, of course, you got to work more. You got to throw more punches.
when he throws, he's been landing on the inside. I think on more than one occasion has made Seldon feel those punches.
Seldon starts this round on his bike.
We asked Bay if he had seen Seldon fight at all. He's been on TV. He said, no, I haven't. And so I'll see what he has when I'm in there.
In the 6th round, Bay, who seems to be stuck on 45, throwing just about 45 every round. But again, when you look at the effectiveness of these two, it's about the same.
And Seldon now sticking pretty much to the southpaw stance here. Not doing too much, but enough because Bay isn't doing anything.
Crowd's starting to get a little antsy, I think, with Seldon. I think they feel he might be coasting a bit.
And Bay not really able to catch up to him in the land shots.
He is a guy who, just as an observer and having watched him fight for several fights, is a guy who seems to tune in and tune out during the course of a fight.
A lot of young fighters do, and of course that's something they don't want to see all the time. Now he's laying in the inside. Let's see if Bay makes something happen. This is where Bay wants him, but he's not throwing. David Bay is doing just enough to lose. That's really what it boils down to. He has his moments when you feel like he could really challenge Seldon. Seldon's hand, I'll tell you what, Bruce Seldon really stands straight up and leaves his hands down. It's one thing he's going to have to really, he's good offense, he's going to have to work on that against the really good boxers because they're going to nail him with something. I'm not sure.
Bay really taking a lot of punishment right now. Seldon putting together more punches in this little sequence than he has in the whole fight.
Bay waiting to land either a right or left and not getting there with the punch. And Bruce Seldon completely taking control of this round now.
And there was a right hand, but Seldon said, no, it didn't hurt me.
Seldon also was a little fatigued from all the punches he threw in that round. He's lucky that right there didn't land better.
Coming to the end of the 7th round, and a pretty good round for Bruce Seldon, who's in control.
Bruce Seldon's dominating this fight, but look how he goes straight back with his hands down and lets David Bay hit him. He's a little tired, and he's just standing straight up with his hands down. Now, against David Bay, he got away from it. With it, against somebody else, he might not. Comes out firing now in this round, does Seldon. Nothing wrong with his offense at all.
No, and you have an idea he may just be one of those guys who fights to the level of his competition, and the better his competition, the better he may fight.
Well, you can go back in heavyweight history many, many places. I mean, a lot of people forget Muhammad Ali fought Doug Jones just before he won the title, and I mean, he looked atrocious. Was lucky to survive a 10-round decision, lucky to get a decision, and he did fairly well.
Yeah, not bad.
And certainly Seldon, in this case, is winning. You know, we've had all these heavyweights on. Tommy Morrison, we had on Mercer throughout his career, the early part of his career. And you look at these guys under a microscope. You're watching every move they make, and can't be perfect all the time.
Yeah, Seldon looks like he can do almost anything he wants with Bay. It's just that he, as we said earlier, sometimes has a tendency to put it neutral and coast a little bit.
And I think what they didn't like in his corner, what Carmen Graziano spoke about, was he wasn't fighting one particular style. He's kind of in between, laying on the inside. Now, the crowd doesn't like when Seldon moves and boxes, but he's been able to make that work for himself. And then move in and attack Bay. And I don't know if David Bay, at this juncture, he may surprise us, has too much left. At this juncture, he may surprise us, has too much left in terms of punching power.
Yeah, that has been the hallmark of his career, is that in the later rounds he has just run out of gas. Short with that right hand.
Boy, that was a right throw with conviction. Another one by Bay.
That was a pretty good one, and I think that did get Seldon's attention. And Bay takes a big right hand from Seldon.
Yeah, Seldon literally knocking him back with that right. Tremendous body shots.
And again, Seldon doing what he has to do.
I'll tell you what, you can say what you want about David Bay, but he's a tough guy.
Oh, yeah.
And he's always proven that against the people he has fought. Not some guy to lay down or go down easily. Just has not had enough offense in the big fights in his career. Not much on those punches by Bay. And the interesting thing is Seldon is there for him, and he's in the position where Bay could try and get to him.
Body shots doing well. And Seldon just trying to jump on Bay, but Bay covered up, and Seldon, even though he got to him with the body, never really got there to the head.
Because David Bay did a fantastic job of covering up, but certainly it cemented in yet another round in the column of Bruce Seldon. Well, Bruce Seldon said, I got to go after this guy, see what I can do. Land some good shots. Went to the body and the head, and David Bay glares at him after the round. Says, no, you didn't hurt me. But I'll tell you what, this young man is so far ahead in this bout that it will certainly take a knockout by David Bay to win it, I'm sure.
And I don't believe David Bay has really hurt him yet. He did get his attention a couple of times.
Hit him with that one real good left. Took in a couple of pretty good right hands, but beyond that, no, I don't think he's hurt him badly.
And Seldon starts out with a flurry.
You've seen on ESPN, Tommy Morrison, Ray Mercer, Rick Bowe's been here, and we say it all the time. You're looking in, and you can compare a Bruce Seldon to those men. It's hard to do when they don't fight each other, obviously, but
It really is. In fact, Ray Mercer, a perfect example of a guy who at times has not looked like the bright hope, but yet when the caliber of his competition went up, so too did Ray Mercer, and I think that same might be true with a guy like Bruce Seldon.
yeah, that would not be out of the question. And of course, Bruce Seldon has shown us lots of positives tonight. By the way, Ray Mercer is going to fight Rocky Sikorsky November 29th. He'll be up in Lake Tahoe for that one. Seldon has shown us a lot tonight, truly. He's, good hand speed, good combinations, some boxing ability. Probably the only negative is that when he has gotten tired, his defense has really lapsed a little bit. And Bay has gotten some shots in, but hasn't been able to hurt him.
There was a good shot by Seldon. Started with an uppercut.
Bay not punching in there, just we're in round 9 and he knows he's got to get a knockout, so he's got to be cranking something up, but he's not doing it. So actually about the only thing, there's some hooks from Bay. I think David Bay is succeeding in doing tonight. He's showing that he could still be a good trial horse for other young guys.
Yeah, that's true.
Not that great a accomplishment.
Maybe his destiny there. Seldon doing some good work here in this 9th round. And this one, not much in doubt at this juncture.
Surprised at how much Seldon is switching to lefty. You don't see many heavyweights do that.
No, it's true.
He's making it work for himself.
And a right hand by Seldon was the best punch of that flurry. Bay got a couple of punches in, but it was Seldon's right hand that was the best punch. And we're in the corner of David Bay, and I have an idea. I know what this advice is going to be.
Okay? You got to go out there and do everything you can today to win this fight, all right? Get behind me, all right? Fair.
Next round, baby. Touch gloves.
All right? You got to go out there.
My arm hurt like hell.
That's all right, Ted. Just give me one more round.
Oh, can you give me punching. You don't want to use the other style. You haven't used it. You said, yeah, you haven't. You want to use it a little bit this round?
I'm a little proud.
Huh?
I'm a little He's in the 10th round. He's never been there before. Good jab, nice.
Well, get some
hard jab.
flash, Bruce. Flashes. Good flash. Don't let him hit you.
Go beyond a handshake.
Yeah, I guess so. And by the way, I was remiss in mentioning that in the last round, that was the first time Seldon had been 9 rounds, so it's certainly the first time he has been 10.
And you heard him say to Carmen Graziano, I'm a little bit tired, but Graziano said, go out there and give me 3 more minutes, and Seldon at least has given him the first minute.
Certainly is. Now the question is, will that bode ill for him in the last? Because Bay's still picking off a lot of those punches. Not all, but some.
I don't know what the problem here. They might have lost a mouthpiece or split a mouthpiece or something.
I'm not sure why they stopped. Just having the doctor look at him. There must be blood in his nose.
Yeah, actually, I saw blood splatter, and I think it's over. It is. He probably broke his nose, actually.
In all likelihood, that is what happened. David Bay knew it, the referee knew it, and Dr. Doggett came in and said, that's enough.
Now, David Bay was in a no-win situation, and why not?
Bruce Seldon, you can see he's winded. First time he'd gone into the 10th round, he threw a lot of punches each round, and he had a big guy leaning on him a lot, which of course they didn't want to have happen, but it ended up being that way, the leaning part. For David Bay, undoubtedly, probably that nose is broken, so for him, discretion, it's swelling up. You can see discretion, the better part of valor, and why not stop it at that point?
Absolutely.
He wasn't going to win this bout. Bruce Seldon has his 16th win, his 13th KO, and he is marching right along, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Picking up a few friends along the way, too.
Look at a jab. This might have been what did it. No, right hand, straight right hand. And there's the hook. And at this point, I think it was already broken.
Let's go to Michael Buffer now, get the official word.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chief Ringside Physician Dr. Frank B. Doggett has advised referee Tony Orlando that David Bay is unable to continue due to a very severe fracture of the nose. The winner at 38 seconds in the 10th and final round, TKO victory for the Atlantic City Express, Bruce Seldon.
Well, the Atlantic City Express was sometimes a local, but nevertheless, he got the job done. Despite connecting on only 23% of his jabs, Bruce Seldon remains undefeated and a contender.